Hello，老师你
Good.
好。
你好，你好，你好。
I'm practicing my Mandarin here. It's very rough. 谢老师
你中文说的
是不是？
很好。
是不是谢老师？对不起，因为你的谢很
对，谢谢的谢。
谢谢，因为那些拐楼他们讲的时候，好像讲 Xie, Dr. Xie, right? They pronounce it differently.
We don't know how to pronounce his name, really. That's so sad.
I'm practicing my Mandarin here because my Mandarin is very poor. But I come from Singapore. So my family name is Wang, and and my name in Chinese 单名是云，王云。
王云。
草字头一个云。
挺美丽的名字。
So I was just explaining to him, Dr. Josie, my Chinese name, because you know me as Amrys Wang, but in Chinese, in Chinese culture, our family surname comes first. So it's in Chinese, my surname is called pronounced as Wang, and my Chinese name is actually Yun. It's different from Amrys. So Amrys is my anglicized name, but my English name, and Yun is my Chinese name.
Oh, it's great to hear you guys talking Chinese. Well, my last name is anglicized German because it should be Beug, but nobody American can pronounce Beug, so it's turned into Beug. So we're all.
So you prefer Josie? You prefer Beug or you prefer the Beug?
Beug, because that's what I've heard my whole life is like Beug. Yeah.
Oh, Dr. Xie, thank you so much for saying yes and agreeing to talk to us.
Yeah, we have about 8,000 to 10,000 graduates around the world.
Wow.
So the reason is 8,000 to 10,000 because some of them didn't finish. Some of them just getting session 1, session 2, but at least 8,000 actual graduate.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing. And we wanted to, Amrys, she contacted me like, I don't, maybe it's 5 years ago now. It's a while ago. And she's wanted to know like how people get to where they are, especially like veterinarians and holistic veterinarians, like your story. And I know you've told tidbits of it in class and from way back when, but when the very first day I walked into veterinary school, I knew I wanted to practice more holistic veterinary medicine. And I walked into veterinary school on day 1, and there was a Doberman there, laying there with all these acupuncture needles in the dog. And this was at the University of Wisconsin. And I was like, oh my goodness, I found out what I'm going to do. I want to do this. I want to do acupuncture, but it was regular veterinary school. So that was 1994. And so I thought the International Veterinary Acupuncture Society was the only one giving the licensing certification course. So I had my eyes set on that all the way through vet school. And then in like 1998, all of a sudden I hear about this man from China who's coming over here to teach acupuncture from China. and I was like, oh, that's who I need to learn from. I just knew immediately. I was like, no, I need to take classes from him. And so that's part of why I moved to Florida in the first place.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Because you were teaching here. So I figured if I don't have money to travel on a plane, I can at least drive and come up and take classes from you. So
I'm sorry, let you stuck in Florida.
Yeah, exactly. No, but actually it's been a pretty good place for the pandemic.
Right.
Yeah. But can you tell us a little bit about what brought you like here and how you started out? Because I know your family your father was acupuncturist, right?
Yeah, so my daddy actually is not acupuncturist. He was herbalist for people.
Okay.
And same did my grandfather. So they already know the herbal, they not really know too much about acupuncture. So very interesting is Chinese medicine has two major portions. One is, botanical, grass, the herb from universe. A lot of actually you need to use your own tools. You can use your hand, tuina, for instance, acupressure, or you can use needles. Of course, you can use a stone, to acupressure the human body to get some response. So I'm lucky enough, well, grown up, the first kind of bachelor degree or veterinary medical degree on college level started in 1979. So we are first class in traditional Chinese veterinary medicine, 1979. Wow. And I graduated 1983 after 4 years. And I went to the Beijing vet school. I also, fortunately enough, become professor there. I taught there 11 years. So back to your questions, why I'm here in Florida. Just like everybody else, when you have something set up or have something feel great, I was in Beijing, feel great. I have the professorship. I was youngest of the associate professor in my school. And I feel good. I mean, wonderful. But then the people say there's something going on in the United States, you might check out to the other side of the world, how they're doing. During that time, 1980s, for Chinese people, when come to United States, only two possible. Possible one is government have some fund sending into United States to learn technology, to learn something, or you're getting full scholarship and come here for PhD or master degree training. So I'm not good with government. And the only choice I have is second choice. Also, this first choice is usually sending the people is technology advance or Western medical to the Europe, to United States. I major is traditional Chinese medicine. There is no way for
no technology
to the other country. So okay, let me try second way. Let me go to English school, learn some of the English, getting my the GRE, TOEFL test. TOEFL is relatively easy, but for GRE, I hate it. But two months I do nothing but just prepare GRE. Fortunately, I pass it. I don't know. Is Josie, you do the GRE, right, for graduate school?
Yeah, the GRE. Yeah, it's a hard test.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
But then good things for that test is they have the one portion is mathematics, 800. The another portion is 800 is language. Yeah. So I calculated myself my English portion, if I get in 400, which I did. And then I able to go in close enough to 1200. So I getting good score actually, even though my English portion only like 450, but then good enough to get this scholarship.
Wow.
And so that's what I apply actually Wisconsin. I apply Cornell, and also apply UC Davis. That's pretty much the vet school. Do not time for Chinese people now. Nobody know Florida. Even we don't know Florida exists.
But you applied to Wisconsin too?
Yes, because Wisconsin actually popular in do not time for Chinese people.
Yeah. And that's where I went to veterinary school.
Maybe that's maybe that's one reason. Maybe there's acupuncture there. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, so 2 years I do this, nothing. I went to I get a good response from graduate school, from UC Davis, Cornell, Wisconsin. Your background is so strong, but we don't have a scholarship for you. Okay, so 2 years, I said, forget it. And then all of a sudden, just before I gave up, and then I get in scholarship, the letter from UF, University of Florida.
No.
We have scholarship for you. Do you like to come to Florida? So I said, okay. So that's the light. My wife and I start to discover that we do not have, there's no internet, finding a map. We go to the bookstore, we find a big, giant world map. I say, where is Florida? Okay, finally find out on the East Coast, the south little bit, little place, Florida. Okay, that's Florida. And then that's, so very simple. So simple, easy way to say come to United States is by accident. Because the professor just, I don't know why they like my background, but then he decided he gave me scholarship.
Wow.
So later on, actually meet him, the reason is he really like my background to in herbal research for parasites control in horses. Because in Florida, the parasites is big problems. He getting funding from Pfizer. He left some money from Pfizer funding, and then have some extra little bit funding graduate student. So that's what I get in that hook.
So you got money from Pfizer to study herbal parasite control.
So that's that's very, very interesting background. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's so answer your questions.
Yeah. Well, and then didn't one of your professors when you were getting your PhD have like a stroke problem or something that you helped him with?
Yeah, that is very, very unfortunately. So I thought that, my life is great, so lucky, but unfortunately when I come here about almost just the day before I arrived, my professor has stroke. And so I landed into Gainesville, Florida, that's close to UF. And but the good news, his tech picked me up from the airport. She told me, Huisheng, unfortunately, the Dr. Amrys is my professor has stroke. So next day I went to see him in the hospital. He basically cannot speak very well. And then, stroke, and then, but then he's very wonderful, and I use acupuncture herbal, help him recover. So he very appreciate what I did. So when he recovered so quickly, 3 weeks later, back to the work. And so he treated me like I was his physician. So I'm really lucky again. But the unlucky portion is couple of months later has the second stroke and the third stroke. And the third stroke is making pass away. And I'm orphaned. And then all those money is go back to Pfizer. So I have, so I didn't basically didn't even, the PhD program, you have to do coursework first. So we did some little data, like didn't 5-6 horses use herbal for parasites, but then we didn't finish. So all the money is gone, finish. And unfortunately, do not time.
And then what did you do? So how did you decide to start teaching here? Like,
so do not time. We have the professorship or this all those wonderful professor, and then so my second supervisor, he was very great too. He said, no problem for your scholarship, basically meaning I can get in my apartment or my food able to pay. It's about $800. Yeah, that's $800 per month, but the tuition is free. So that's good enough for my living. But he said, you have to find a way, sponsor your own research.
Oh, wow.
Because the Pfizer money is gone, you have to do something. So I started writing grant, send it to all the possible sources. Morris Animal Foundation, for instance, or other possible funding agent. Then night, I just write grant. 1 year, I send it to every single agent possibly able to think. Almost I say, you put the stone in the water, the stone never back. And even there are no lawyers, nobody even pretend the last received this paper. So I can remember that 1996 or 1995 is acupuncture is unpopular. Nobody say acupuncture is impossible. Okay, so
nobody knew about it. Nobody knew about it even.
So my wife and I said, okay, I remember that's just right before Christmas, 1996. I get in paid. I mean, my dean actually, not dean, chairman, come to me. Congratulations, Xie, you have the wonderful news. I saw that my grant was funded. Wow. But actually is a private donor. So it's a big check specifically donated to acupuncture research in horses. So I was so lucky. Wow. So this
that's amazing.
Without this donor, I basically probably my program is ending, aborted. 1996.
You may have ended up back in China or something, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And then you started teaching off of that, or doing
So the reason I able to so there's a lot that money is not good enough for whole research. And then but the reason I get the donation because her horse has a chronic diarrhea. They're already in the hospital, in the large animal hospital for 4 days, kept dying, getting thinner and thinner, and they decided to put to sleep. So the donor says, wait a minute, this is my baby, you cannot kill him. I said, we do everything possible. There's no way we're able to turn around. I heard there is one Chinese guy in there. Can you guys asking him to help, him to treat this horse? Medicine that time, no, impossible. But the administration says you have to, because this month of the donor. So because of that, large animal hospital invited me check this horse. So I use acupuncture herbal actually help that horse turn around quickly. 4 days later, 4 days to great, and the 5th day discharged from the hospital. So the owner is so appreciated. I still remember what she said. Sen, thank you so much. Give me the special gift. That horse is a slide back to us as Christmas gift. It's my turn to give my little gift to you. I know you have suffering a little bit with your research. So hopefully this little piece of the check can help you continue your acupuncture research. So that's my link in my eyes. Okay, I don't need the right grant. I can treat the horses getting grant. So I started to actually convince my department, I can treat the horses. So I started drive state vehicle. So all those horses, whoever wanted to say. So I started kind of practice racehorse. Do not Florida have a lot of racehorses. So farm by farm, we're getting donation, and I finish my research basically.
Wow,
so that is, and then also pass all those requirement thesis or all those wonderful PhD requirement, and then come to almost just right before I graduate, and then Jonathan, they know, okay, acupuncture actually has some value, and at the administration said, okay, do you like it to become our faculty?
Oh, wow.
I'm so surprised. I said, okay. Awesome. So, this is I don't know, it's a good way to publicize, but then did the normal, ads, everybody can apply. But then I still remember ad says, will prefer has a PhD training with a veterinary medical degree, has research of acupuncture. So I read the ads. I know probably there are not too many people qualified for that position. So I apply and I get it.
That's funny. Yeah, was it the job description was written specifically for you?
Yeah. So I'm not, I don't know specific for me, but then it's fair for everybody to apply. Also, it's fair for the job because the job actually need the research of acupuncture and also practice. So that's what I established the acupuncture service in large animal at the University of Florida, 1999. And I started to teach the student acupuncture rotation. And then we also started to have the internship programs. So that's pretty much
when I was in Wisconsin, I mean, there was like stories coming through the like veterinary grapevine. They must have been, because I was graduated in the spring of '98 from Wisconsin, and we heard about this Chinese. We heard about the Chinese man using acupuncture to treat horses or treat animals. You know.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. But then you started teaching classes because you opened up for veterinarians.
Yeah, we teach some like this is not a requirement courses, but it is a elective course, so student able to choose to get a very simple 1 credit course.
But then you started your own school, because I remember coming up there in the little farmhouse. And we had classes in the hotel, right? Remember?
Yeah, so we have the 2 portions. One portion I work for state, University of Florida. Another is we work for state is wonderful. The UF gave me life, and then I feel home is a wonderful place for students, also for faculty. Have a lot of wonderful leaders and teacher, professor, clinician there. And then
I think it gave a lot of validation to the acupuncture and Chinese medicine too, by you being associated with them. For the Western mind, like people looking at it from the outside in, like, oh, he works for the University of Florida, so it must be like, it helped. I think it raised it up. Actually.
Yes, sometimes it's interesting is something from school must be good. So that's definitely is a help a lot, definitely. So your question asked about how the Qi University or used to be Qi Institute established. It's very simple. So the reason during that time I was still a PhD student. I do my research. But I love teaching. I always said that in my life, I have 3 loves. Number 1, basketball.
Basketball.
Number 2, beach. Number 3, teaching. So Florida, we still play basketball every Saturday. We go to the beach Sunday. But my life still not perfect. I need the teaching. So how able to teach? I was a student. So one way able to teach is to create a school to teach. So, and then before that, I already invited to like IVS and some other, veterinary organization, Kentucky, Georgia, and even Japan, Europe. Just do not. I was already invited to so many places, and one thing I found out that your style is so different from others. A couple of way listen to your lecture is so confused for many years for those long time study acupuncture. So I get him motivated, after hear about the feedback, and then they also says, can you create your own school? Therefore, we can learn from you. So that's like a plant some sage in my brain. Okay. But then really quick is like a click to me. I feel I have to establish school. Was my friend. She graduated from other acupuncture school. She's a vet, and 5 years now, 5 years study for veterinary acupuncture. She never needle the horse, needle the dog yet.
Wow.
I said, well, okay, this was totally different what I taught. Again, before I entered the United States, I was professor for 11 years. Acupuncture, you have to practice. So I feel there's some lucky about this system, United States. It's not that really the way I prefer. I like people actually willingness need to practice. So I said, how about since there's so many interesting, a lot of people interested in my background and then like me teaching. I love teaching. This is one of my love. So we just finding a farm. There is a gorge. There is just we repented, cost $500 because that's all the money we have. We have the little classroom we set up. That's the first class, 13 students. So that's what 1998 we established the institute. Cost us $5,000 to establish.
Yeah, I remember like the class that I took, we could all fit in that little tiny conference room in the basement of the hotel, and then we would go out to the farm.
Yes, so actually that's later on, because that our farm place, that's too small. So we need to rent. We have some more fund, more money now. We're able to rent the classroom in a hotel. That's actually for us is a big move. From the gorge classroom, now we move to the conference room in hotel. That's actually pretty big left for us. But then I remember that later on is probably that's 2002 or 2003. We went to the hotel. That hotel divided into 3 rooms. 1 room for us. There are a lot of room for realtor people.
Okay.
Their conference, they are just energy so high, so loud. And we try to learn peaceful, quiet Chinese medicine. The slowest from this dividing room, I feel that's not good. We need it back to the farm again. So that is the motivation. I feel we have to build our own school in private, quiet horse farm. So that's what the current we have that place. We have conference room because the realtor energy stimulated us.
It got the like chi moving to move back to the horse farm. But I mean, it's so beautiful now. It's like there's been so many stages, because then you started Jingtong Herbal, and that was a huge step.
Yeah, so that's also is interesting is I never thought I would become, a businessman. This not definitely is out of my gene. But after we teach the herbal course, we said this is a wonderful recipe, it's great. And then student basic question is great medicine, but where we buy, where we can get it, Dr. Xie, please help us. I said, this is not my job. I'm professor teaching. It's your job to do all those, but then they're so confused. The Chinese name drive us crazy. Nobody knows what's going on. Can you help us doing something? Okay, so I discussed with my wife, and she actually also University of Florida employee. I said, can you quickly do a job? Help me, because our student need the herbal recipe. Actually know exactly what's going on. So that's where 1998 we established Jintang. Also on the farm we grounded all those herbal with hand, and then that's originally we package with hand with my wife Yanzu help, and then that's our original form of the Jintang herbal product. That's 1999.
I remember the hand grinders. I saw those. Yes. But I think people need to, I love this because people have no ideas. Like you came from such humble beginnings, you know what I mean? It just started like, okay, there's a need, so let's do it, Yeah,
again, all those is because the T Institute because of student push me.
Yeah.
And I love teaching. And then student like the herbal, and then my wife support. It's so simple.
And then there were like all the animals that we were seeing, and I still to this day I feel like the animals call out and be like somehow through a megaphone, because they push us the practitioners to learn more and be better, and search out for solutions. Yeah.
Dr. Xie, can I just ask, you said you rented this private horse farm to start the Qi Institute, and then you started you founded a Jintang herbal company to grow the herbs on the farm. So you had horses on the farm, but what other animals did you have on the farm?
The herbal will not grow the herbal. We still import export, but it's a pharmacy. Do not we grinding the herbal,
right.
herbal in the powders.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, yes, we have horses. We also have the cows. We have the goats. We have the chickens.
So your students could practice acupuncture as you envision it.
Initially, yes, but then our students getting so spoiled. All those students always go back. All those same patient practice again and again, they're getting bored. So what we did, we have the wonderful local community. So we talked to the labor farm, how about we get in exchange? If you bring your horses, the dog, come to the campus, we give you free acupuncture Chinese medical evaluation, getting free acupuncture treatment, getting 1 month free herbal medication. Oh, wonderful. So they bring a patient, our student can learn those real patient. And then, so let's keep energy going. Works beautifully for student can learn real cases, also help our local community because their pets need help. So it's wonderful.
There was a lot of the greyhounds from the greyhound racing groups and people. We worked on greyhounds for so often, and they were all like greyhounds off the tracks, rescued off the tracks. So
yeah, there are a lot of the injury, they need a lot of help.
Yeah.
Wow. Just I love this story of how you started the Qi Institute. I'm just curious, did you have a lot of resistance from people when you were, you wanted to start this Qi Institute? Did they, say, no, you cannot, or was it very difficult for you to sort of create the school?
Actually, no. This one thing I learned this, in United States is so much freedom. You can do anything you want. You can say anything you wanted to say.
Wow.
Before I come to United States, I don't know this freedom. I still love United States because the freedom. And then, so I went there getting the make the registration for the company, Qi Institute, like a couple hours, I get in the company. I was just so shocked. As you can imagine, for the speaking English not so very well, you get in there, actually people work on you establish your own business. So actually no resistance at all. People, no problems. I get it, you do. But then your business successful, not successful, or are there any people criticize the Qi Institute doing this? Yes, there are a bunch of conventionally, you teach this bullshit, and it's an unproven voodoo medicines. We do have that resistance, but then I don't care, I just teach a student what I think this knowledge is good for our patient, our animals, and our student help animals, and animal getting better. That's what I count. Yes, they do have a lot of those critique about this just, voodoo medicines is not a scientific approval.
If it didn't care, You
And
didn't
if it
care.
didn't work, you would have gone out of business. Like nobody would continue to come and take the classes, and we wouldn't continue to buy the herbs and give the herbs if it didn't work, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So this is a feedback. Feedback is important. Anything must be have the positive return. If only one way never work, must be two-way, win-win situation. Student learn something knowledge, this knowledge able to generate something good for their patient or for their business. Otherwise, we're finished long time ago.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah,
I'm assuming you have family still in China. Which part of China are you from?
I'm from originally, I was born in Sichuan. That's southwest, close to the Tibet area.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then after graduating from vet school 1983, I moved to Beijing. So I worked there 11 years. That's where I met my wife and then have first child. So I'm really lucky, stay there 11 years.
Wow. Wait a minute. Respectfully, how old are you? I'm curious. Because you look very young.
I'm 18 years old. That's 40 years ago.
It's because he gets up and does Tai Chi every day. Tai Chi and basketball and the beach.
So you were 18 years ago, 40 years ago, 18 years, 40 years ago. So okay, my mathematics is very poor. So what is 58 this year? Is that it?
Yeah, that's close enough.
Close enough. You do not look it, Dr. Xie.
Thank you very much.
Very young. You look very young, very youthful.
I feel young. When I play basketball like yesterday, Saturday, I still feel 18 years old. We have the 14, 16 years old yesterday we played. We challenge each other. So that's why I feel still 18.
Wow, amazing. Amazing. So what is your, because you do you teach acupuncture and you look so young and you still act like an 18-year-old playing basketball, what is your advice to students who want to look like you and feel 18?
Stress-free. It's easy to say, not easy to do. Stress could be kind of physical, could be from the mental. Physical stress, a lot of us able to deal with. We just relax, we can't do it. We just don't do it. You put it beyond your limit. So every of us has some limits, but I find most of us, we're so competitive. We don't want to give up easily. We wanted to challenge those limits. I feel don't challenge your limits, because if you challenge, you might be broken. When you was 18 years old, you can easily repair, but now after you pass 30 years, 40 years, is too late to repair. So just prevention, try to avoid all those mental stress and the physical stress. Mental stress is prevention would be do whatever you love. Don't do anything you don't feel you have to do it. So that's basically prevention. I love play basketball no matter what I will play. I like go to beach, I just go to the beach, enjoy. I love teaching, I just teaching. I don't worry about anybody say you cannot teach. No, you cannot teach. Your English is so bad. You even cannot speak Chinese really well. How are you able to teach? Okay, this I hear, but then I forgot, and so I'm still teaching. I'm so short. You cannot play basketball, you are so short, but I'm able to shoot the hoop. And then I'm still able to play. So for me, that's just have fun. So I just, again, anything for me, there's all those stress, whatever, just ignore those stress.
And have fun. I think that's a secret too. Like people forget, Americans have a really hard time to just have fun, to just,
and
you
relax.
know, like if we relax and set everything aside and go have fun, then there's all this guilt about it. And then that just creates stress. So yeah.
Create more stress,
Yeah, exactly.
So you do this, like Josie mentioned about Tai Chi definitely help. Tai Chi is basically make your heart and the mind and then connected. Also make your mind and the body connected. When not connected, your slow motion, your body give you signal, and your mind give your body, okay, slow actually feel good. This is like you generate your own music, energy flow in your body, making all those nerve connections and then feel good about it. So Tai Chi is one of the, I think, tools everybody can do. It's very simple technique. You can easily breathe in, breathe out. Anything smoothable, you know, just in front of your chest, holding and relax, moving. That's simple Tai Chi forms. Cooperate with your inhale, exhale.
It's like
there's so many other forms.
Like meditation with the body, though. In meditating.
Exactly. Yeah. So the Tai Chi also is a part of meditate.
Yeah.
So you can use your motion, balance your meditations.
You know, Dr. Xie, you know, I'm Chinese, but I grew up in a very Western education background. But how would you explain to someone who doesn't understand what is the difference between, say, Tai Chi and Qigong?
Okay, they're very similar. The Qigong more broad. Qigong refer to anything work with Qi is Qigong. So the Qi actually is a Qi. Gong is the energy or the take the time work this energy. So anything energy work is the Qigong. Tai Chi refer to there is enter ground yourself. This on universe, the Tai Chi in the universe, you are there. You're holding yourself, ground yourself. How you're able to ground yourself? You make your motion must be slow motion. Make your feet, try to stand on the ground, grounded, slow motion, and then teach your mind also try to slow as much as possible. Your mind or tell your body, try to balance, not off ground. So that is kind of Tai Chi. So Tai Chi is one form of the Qigong. Qigong is very, very broad.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I just learned something too.
Since I'm with the master, I should ask him. You know, he's the teacher. I should really ask him. Another question is, how would you explain what is acupuncture to someone who doesn't know what it is? I say I'm your fresh student. What is acupuncture?
Simply, you can think about acupuncture two things. Number one, need the tools. This is almost like 8,000 years ago, they used a stone to puncture themselves. They feel something after the puncture with stone, they feel good. Do you know why they use stone? Because low metal 8,000 years ago. So 3,000 years ago has a metal, now has a needle. So needle, the skin able to have the feel something. And then that's also they discover more acupuncture point. And then now we can use a laser, we can use electrical stimulation. So one of think about there's some tools. We can use needles, we can use laser, we can use electrical. The second about our body is some special location on our surface. That surface is almost like in a nation. We have so many big cities, and then the nation is the whole bodies. The city is that spot, special acupuncture point spot, because that spot has a lot of things going on, a lot of energy, free nerve ending, and a lot of special cells, a lot of special energy gather that place. Just like you guys stay in Miami, There are a lot of football team, basketball team, a lot of energy gathered in Miami. And then that's the Miami is one acupuncture point. So again, what means acupuncture? Acupuncture, basically we need something give us this location special stimulation. We can use a needle, stimulate the special location of the body will definitely will respond to your stimulation. After stimulation, your body take over, they can balance by itself. For instance, now from Miami, come to Gainesville, Gainesville go to Canada. Okay, all those is connected, energy connections. Now, because of COVID-19, and all of a sudden, Miami lack of any like medical supply. All those medicines, what's called the personal protection material, like a face mask, all those, you don't have this. Now everybody's suffering. How you can able to help? Now you need a stimulation with tools. So we can stimulation from the energy. There is I-75, right? We're able to coverage here with from Xie University. We have a lot of those personal material energy because we get single. You stimulate, you cry, you single us. Now we know, okay, you need something. We stimulate I-75, we send this wonderful energy, those personal protection material, go to the Miami, now you're getting protect. That's kind of how this works. So comparison between the body and the nation. That's one way to think about it.
That's a good analogy. But like right now with like the with the supply chain problems, there's stagnation in the system, right?
Exactly. So this flowing, like let's say this worker don't want to drive the truck, or they're whatever, they're stagnant there. So now we know there's some problems. What do? We find some specific area, where stagnation is. We give the system the signal. Okay, those workers feel, okay, now if we have the smile, if we get more energy, the more balance, then we need to go to that work. And then the system will fix by itself.
Give them good food, give them good things to drink.
Exactly,
and then
exactly.
Raise up and then it can flow.
So this is unlike the conventional medicine is one to a ladder. Is a very, very direct. So if we have the broken bones, surgical repair, if we have the information, we anti-information, acupuncture is like circling. Just like we talk about supply chain stagnation, not A from B, you need the whole system work together. Somebody social work, make the big smile, or those salary rate or governmental regulation, everybody getting good energy circulate around. So it's a whole system work together to able to achieve a result.
I like that. I like your example. Thank you. Thank you. I never thought of it that way.
Okay. Well, it almost goes back to the thinking of like the earth as a whole is like our body is like the organism, and then we have all the acupuncture channels on the running around the earth.
So that's also original discovery. Do you know one of the theory why how the acupuncture discovery? Because this monkey now started to standing, become human being. So their hands actually able to grab the fruits to eat, right? So that's what we different from the monkey, because the human able to stand in the ground, but sometimes the falling on the ground is hurt. But sometimes the body touch on the sharp stone. Oh, okay. When the falling on the ground, when not getting injured or getting damaged by the storm or stimulated by storm, the belly feel better. So this incidental, I falling down, my leg touched by the sharp stone, stimulate my stomach 36. My belly feel better. How about we make the stone specifically puncture stomach 36? And then that's the initial acupuncture point discovered. It's not a local treatment. It's more from the leg. You treat an internal medical disorder. So so basically acupuncture understanding, you give a signal, you can use a stone, you can use your finger, you can use electrical, you can use a needle on the leg. And then body, okay, I get it. And then they can heal by itself. Just that simple.
So we're kind of like, yeah, stimulating the body, so then the body will take over and stay in harmony.
So the question is about each point has some their specific. Some of the specifically for stomach pain, some other point specific for gallbladder or for the liver, some other could be for mental, some other could be for lung. So that's what the time become important. Good sense for those ancient people that have the time. Maybe 100 years discover one point. So many hundred years. And then from 4,000 years ago to 2,000 years ago, take 2,000 years for them discover 365 points. I mean, so 361 points. So yeah, take about 2,000 years. So again, they have the time.
So did they limit it, but there were like more points discovered, right? Or did they just figure like 360 and that's?
Yeah, they have some more points to discover. So that's what one of the critique before I come to United States. All those from Chinese medical system, two systems. One we call TCVM, another is Western medicine people. All those professors from Western medical department, your guys so lazy. For past 2,000 years, you did nothing. You still use everything 2,000 years ago. So what our response is, this 2,000 years, that's good enough. Why we need to discover new? We still use herbal soup. 2,000 years ago, we still use needle 2,000 years ago. We don't need the modern, machine because that's all we need.
Because it's working. If it works, then why?
Because it's consistently the work. They don't have the drug resistant. Remember, COX-2, COX-1, all those time management has so many recall because new discovering, side effect, or you have the drug resistant. But again, ideally would be integrate. So definitely Chinese medicine has a limitation, have a lot of limitation. For instance, our discomfortable by feeling, but our dog and the horses sometimes they don't tell us. I wish I would be like animal communicator. So I love the Western medical diagnostic tools because they help us understanding what really they're suffering from. So, and then we have more specifically help them.
But sometimes using what I've found in practice, like I use all I love the Western diagnostic skills too, because you can get the x-rays and you can get the blood work and then it gives you clues. But what I found too over the years, Dr. Xie, is I can pick up using the TCVM and looking at the animal and the tongue and pulse and the points. I can often pick up problems before they even show in the Western blood work, like liver stagnation and things like that.
That's a wonderful integrate, because Chinese medicine is critical with the Qi phase. Qi phase meaning energy phase. Energy phase at this moment, Western medical tool cannot diagnose. For instance, I always have example. I work on horses, a lot of those competition horse, race horse, X-ray, normal. Any other diagnostic image, like MRI, bone scan, everything's normal. Blood work is beautiful, but the horse cannot perform. They're just not right. And then the conventional doctor, okay, what I can do, everything's normal. But the horse, everybody knows it's not normal. I'm a writer, trainer, no, the horse cannot perform. That's a Qi problem. Qi problem, you cannot use Western medical tools to detect. But that's the Qi allergy. We can use tongue diagnosis, post-diagnosis. We can scan the horses, palpate the patient, discover where the Qi blockage is. You treat early stage before the physical structural damage actually already fixed the problem. You have the prevention of later stage disease.
Yeah. That's what I'm really trying to tell people now too, is using it for prevention. Like instead of going in just for your annual exam for your dog and cat, go in for like a biannual acupuncture treatment, you know, because it really helps. And my clients over the years, they may have called me with a really sick patient, but then their new animals that come in, they just want me at their house for prevention now, which makes my job easier, you know?
Yeah, that's great. The best treatment is prevention. Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah. Wow.
Dr. Xie, because Dr. Josie is, you know, she sort of teaches me the basics, and I wish I was a better student because I don't think I'm a very academic student sometimes. Like I think I have some blocks. I probably need some acupuncture somewhere to unblock my Qi. But she always talks about the 5 elements in Chinese, traditional Chinese medicine. Maybe could you explain that?
5 element. Okay.
Yeah.
So 5 element, the history coming from about 2,500 years ago. Those ancient people, they're just fascinating about today is sunny day. Tomorrow can be the cold, and then can be winter, and it can be summer. So they figure out the universe must be has some forces, and then force a universe to make some change. So in other words, your universe cannot stagnate forever, slow forever, cannot rainy forever, cannot grow the flower forever. There must be has some own law to make a universe to alternate, to change. The case alternate, circle, the change. And then so they observe. Finally they figure out there's the 5 forces that help universe to do the job by itself. So for instance, in wintertime, from let's say wintertime typical December to February, let's say that around 3 months, that time, those philosophers live in the north of the Chinese territory. It's very, very cold. They don't have the building, but they have the cave. C-A-V-E, cave. So they stay in the cave because that's the only place able to survive. Otherwise, they were, frozen to death. So they stay in the cave. They're thinking, okay, now in the winter time, they're unable to thinking, but then there is no light, or most of the time no light, because the winter time is dark. So that's okay. In the winter time dark, but why cause us so dark? Because so cold, we have to stay inside. But why is it cold? Because of the snow. Everywhere floating snow, but the snow made out of the water. So they think about, okay, for this season, there's one important sense, make the universe become so cold is water. So immediately the water, dark, the winter, they link together. So every single time we are thinking about something cold, something dark, something observe, something you feel is no light, that is the time is referred to water allergy. Water allergy, if we go think about, is very deep. Now we stay in the winter time in the cave. This cave is very, very deep. So you back to our body, where is very, very deep? My hand is very superficial, go to very, very deep, joint the bones. Right? Our trunk body, spine is deep. So any sense, IVDD, spinal cord disorder, arthritis, bone marrow, that is water allergy disorder. from head, if from head to the ground is deep, is a bladder renal. I drink the water go to very deep, flush out. Before flush out, they go to my bladder, go to my kidney. So renal failure, cystitis, IVDD, arthritis, that's a part of water disorder. So we have one patient, if have the multiple issues, renal failure, arthritis, IVDD, that is one element disorder, that's a water disorder. You treat that disorder, not only arthritis is better, renal is better, disc is better, and bladder renal function also is better. That's the beauty of the Chinese medicine. They are grouping one energy for the bodies. So second element is wood. Water flow is unfrozen. The water is moving. When water river is moving, and then able to make the seedling grow, the tree start grow. After grow, you have some leaves. Leaves we say is a green color, green energy. That is from the tree. So they use a very strange name, is wood. I think they use wood because energy, that springtime is coming from tree. Tree make the whole universe become green. Green energy flash the new life, but then all those energy is out from the tree. The tree end of the production of the tree is tables, chopsticks, is chairs, all those wood material is useful, is become that element. So, and innocence associated with springtime, they use WOOD, present that element. So this element again is about the green energy, about life. Why is life? Because wintertime you have no life, frozen in the cave. Now you have outdoor activity, fresh air, springtime. That's what the Chinese we call spring festival, New Year. Why is it called the New Year? Because new life back to universe. So this element about life, about the new energy, about the green colors. But go to medicine. Where is the green and blue? Blue eyes, blue gallbladder, the bile coming from liver cells, so liver, gallbladder, eye, all those are social ways, this element. So in other words, if the dog has uveitis, dry eyes, has a hepatitis, gallbladder sludge, all those disorder, one element disorder. You treat the wood energy, the body will take care of itself. Not only eye is better, liver in them may become normal, and then the gallbladder sludge also is better. And this about the life. If balanced life is great, so we can move to the slow motion, Tai Chi, able to move in, but sometimes we move so fast, epilepsy, seizure activity. That is abnormal of action, too much. So seizure activity also is a part of those elements. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And then next element is about summer. So again, from winter, that is water, and then springtime is wood. Now is very, very hot summer. Hot summer is hot. And then heart is a fire because that's hot. So that's relatively easy. So the fire energy, where they go? They go to very high. Water is simple, it's going down. But the fire is warm energy go to up. If you somebody I don't know that you go into winter is so cold. You want your hand is for you put the hand on the top of the fire, you feel warm, but you put it below the fire, the low heat. So the energy of the fire heat go to up. So the fire up, going to here. Where is our mind? So mind is a part of the fire. So it's a mental disorder, crazy people, behavioral dog. That is too much fire, basically. And then, so how you able to make the fire control? The big organ associated with the fire, the color of the fire is red. The red organ is blood, is heart. So heart is house the mind, make our fire is stay inside of a heart, and that's balance. If our heart is not able to function normally, our mind is leakage and become crazy, become behavioral disorders. So this element relatively easy. Number 4 element is the earth disorder. This is more difficult for Western medical practitioner because the terminology can make a lot of the people is very, very confused. It's so-called earth element because it's the special season from July to September. So that is called the late summer. So it's after summer, but it's a late summer from July to September. So this month, during that time, 2,500 years ago, is a time for them go to the field to get in the food.
Harvest.
The harvest season, the wheats and the corns. When the time go to harvest is the time when the field becomes yellow because the rice, corn is getting harvest. Usually everything's become brown, become yellow. Chinese color brown, yellow is the same. So basically yellow color. So yellow color go into the time to harvest. The harvest is about the food. Where is the food coming from? Coming from Mother Earth. So they use earth element or earth present this element, number 1 reason, because this is about the food. But where the food coming from? Coming from earth. Number 2, because the soil, you have rich soil, you have the high yield of the crop. So crop yield depends on richness, quality of the soil. Soil is a part of earth. So therefore, they use earth element present this season. So this energy corresponds to us. One way you can think about the yellow brownish is a poop, right? So ending of our, a lot of the brownish faces, okay. But where the digest system? So from all the way from mouth to defecate, all those processing is earth element. So this basically deal with the food. Okay.
And it's like our microbiome. They're doing all this research on the microbiome. So the microbiome is like the health of the soil.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now more and more, especially now for people, for the dog, it's very important for that. For horses, everybody knows without this, the horse cannot digest at all.
Yeah.
So last element is a more challenge for conventional mind. They call metal element. The reason is this season is a fall, autumn. They're very busy for ancient time is springtime, summertime, and then later summertime. Winter time, they're doing nothing. The joke about for those ancient people doing nothing, they just the time make the baby. So ancient time, a lot of if you're looking for birthday, everything, most of the time actually is around that time because the human being 12 months or 10 to 12 months. So around the reason is they're so busy. Only time is relaxed is the winter. they have the time to able to generate the babies because they're doing nothing, right? Now, before they generate the baby, now the food is already harvested. They need to doing something. What do they do? They deal with the metal. The reason they deal with the metal because, again, Stone Age, that is 6,000, 5,000 years ago, a long time ago, and then become 4,000 years ago is a metal revolution. Metal revolution makes those human beings is very, very important for them. Before that time, they use the hand going to the tray, grab the fruits, or you make the weapon to kill the animals. So there are food sources. Number one is meat from animals or fruits. If the fruits not enough, if the weapon not enough, or if they cannot get meat, most of them die. Now they feel revolution because that not depends on the animals' food sources. They're able to control their own food by the metal weapons because they started to have the plum, the field, have a lot of metal tools able to make the corn and the rice yield production much, much higher. So the metal revolution become critical for them, make the human survival rate much higher, and then because of metals. So metal is their weapon, defense, but also the weapon help their food production is higher, making the human being survival. So this is about the defense, also about the metal element. Metal, because again, that's the tools they use, revolution, is the time associated with October, November, and the December time period. And the internal organ is relatively, think about the defense, think about immune system. Our skin on the surface is our very protections. And then the soldier, they use a metal weapon, define their kingdom. During that time, there is a that's a Zhou dynasty, 2,500 years ago. There is a one nation, but it has so many kingdoms, like over 200 kingdoms. So each kingdom, their own like a borderline. The borderline is the soldier define this is my kingdom. So those soldiers use the weapons, define their borderlines. So this is about borderline, our skin, our defense, like lymph nodes, our immune system. And this is a borderline, relatively more superficial. So superficial skin, here called superficial lung. So lung, superficial skin, the hair called, all those part of metal element.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Does that help you, this 5 element? I know it's very long.
Yeah. Thank you.
No,
thank you. Because
thank you. Yeah.
You are right when you say the metal and earth, it's a bit difficult for conventional minds, the Western mind, to understand this part, you know, because even though I'm Chinese, I said I grew up in a very Western education. So to learn this now is like really like opening my mind a lot more, you know, and I'm very, very grateful that I actually have this opportunity, thanks to Dr. Josie, to meet you and for you to explain it to me, you know. Thank you so much.
Now you kind of make more sense to you?
Yeah.
Any confused area?
I would say I would still need to practice the concept of metal, because you said the word kingdoms and borders. So you're talking about the skin, the lymph nodes. Why the lung? The lung because we're breathing. Is that why?
One thing you can think about is superficial superficial because the borderline, that's most the border, superficial skin, superficial hair coat, cut our head off, internal organ. Which organ is the most superficial organs? Lung is the most superficial organs. Lung is a rock on the chest, protect the heart. Anybody use the knife beating you, the first organ, the touch is the lung organs. Lung is the most superficial organs.
Okay.
Human acupuncture practice, most common incident is put the bladder 13, 14, 15 on the back. Most each year, so many incidents, they put the needle too deep, touch the lung tissues. So lung is a very superficial, very fragile organs.
So they actually go into the lung on humans if you go too deep on those points.
You go too deep, too much, because that again on the very superficial. So a lot of not training don't flex needle on that area because can be very, very a dangerous place. Our dog, our horses is easier because that's doing on this, so their lung is much deeper. But human being lung is very superficial.
And plus, as we breathe in air, the lung is like the interface between the inside and outside.
Yeah, that's a lot of way to think about. Universe, a lot of the superficial air, think about everything on the surface. And then all those respiratory terminals, all those airway go to, why we call airway? Because this air going to there, go to the lung coming back.
So that's metal. And
that's metal.
Lung. So like asthma.
Exactly, you get it.
Coughing.
Yes, yes. And respiratory disorder, lower airway disease, pneumonia, bronchitis, cough, asthma, all those are associated with mental disorders.
COVID.
So what about phlegm? The phlegm.
Phlegm is a rather big concept area. One of my friends, he did his PhD, 5 years study the phlegm.
Wow.
Wow.
So let me simply give you a test about the one way to think about the phlegm is make the cough. So Chinese people think about why people cough, because there must be phlegm. So really is because the body has a responsive. Why the cough? Because there's something go to your respiratory, so your body actually try to get rid of things the body don't need. So usually that's the original phlegm coming from to stop the cough. How to stop the cough? By transforming the phlegm.
But they talk about
is a defense.
Yeah.
So another way you can think about is more broader phlegm is something thick material. Our normal material is less organized. If this is just fat tissues, that's the phlegm.
Fat
so fat.
It's not too much fat, too much phlegm.
Too much.
So something is oily, rich oily. So phlegm basically don't move. They can move, but they cannot move fast enough. So like for instance, for the normal tissues or normal protection, we need to move. Saliva come out easily. Our eye liquid is come out easily, but the phlegm, they're sticky. They don't move easily. They stay in the respiratory cause cough. They sticky in our belly, make our belly become bigger because they're so sticky, don't want to go away, become fat, even cause lymphoma or become the tumor mass. So that you can extend it. That also can be part of the phlegm.
Wow. Okay.
That help a little bit. I don't want to give too much, otherwise get you more confused.
No, but this is very interesting for me because I've always been curious, you know. Like I say I'm a not a very good student, but I have a curious mind. And I think it's because it depends on the teacher. If I don't like the teacher, I don't pay attention. But I like you, obviously, that's why I'm paying attention.
Because he's such a good teacher.
Yeah. And honestly, you know, if people tell you it's true, you know, 老师, what you said, you know, people say your English isn't good, but you still teach, and I'm actually understanding it, you know, and I'm actually learning, which is fantastic. I think that is why Xie Institute, and now it's called Xie University, has survived for so many years, since what, 1996?
1998.
1998, you know, till now. You know,
and it's spread all around the world. How many countries is it in now? It's like
about 20 countries.
Yeah, just about 20 countries.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a special visitor coming back from China, because I think they gave you an award or something from China. Like you're taking traditional Chinese veterinary medicine back to China in a way, like, because
that's yes, sometimes that's that's sometimes each of us something proud of yourself. That's one thing I'm proud of myself, is actually teach so many Chinese students. They're able to go back, actually help the Chinese community.
Awesome.
May I ask, because, you know, well, we know the history of China, the politics, everyone sort of knows that and understands, and also why it was very challenging for a lot of people, especially in the 1980s, to come out. As you said, there was only maybe two ways to come out, you know, either government or, you know, some PhD sponsorship, you know. So how would you describe your style of teaching acupuncture compared to, say, even those in China?
So I think one thing, my teaching style is, so I will go back to a long time ago. Well, 1983, well, after I graduated from vet school, and my mentor is great. We have the one, his main teacher, professor, teach internal medicine. I was his assistant. So I'm assistant, I'm lecturer basically. And I help him, I prepare the course material, I grade for student. And then he said, Christian, you have to teach 1 hour for this course. He just have to. The Chinese, basically, you have to follow your professor order. So I say, yes. So I prepare. And then I know, immediately I know that's not easy. I mean, I never teach before, so I don't know able to teach. So I asked him, his Professor Zhang. I said, Professor Zhang, how able I teach? He was great professor, and one of our best professor. And he told me, think about when you was college, who you like your most, and then use his style to teach. I think that is a very wisely give me like advice. So and then I go home to think. I have the 5 major professors at my vet school. Each of them has something good. One professor always told the story. I treated this case, this case. Those stories, sometimes he's old, he forgot. So the story, the old story, repeated many times. So I like his style, the story, but sometimes this like story is so detailed. It's a 1 hour lecture, 2 story. We didn't get nothing more than just story. So I said, this professor is great, but then too much story, because we didn't learn too much. Excited, it's wonderful, excited, but then we didn't learn. A lot of professors are like the very scholarly. It's always straightforward and like metal, you know, very organized. is if this very, very 1, 2, 3, 4, straightforward. I like it, but it's boring. It's so boring. It's if you're not interested, all of a sudden you lost it, but you forgot it. So, and then my third professor, he loved reading all those like literature. He liked to use, okay, this textbook, this about the side dish from different people idea, from other resources. So he gave us comparison. He will use this, the mainstream people thinking this. This actually, there's some other source. So they don't give conclusion, they just lay out those argument. Let the student figure out what your like. So I like this because give me, okay, almost you have main dish, but now you have side dish, have some little bit something else you're able to try. My fourth professor, he also is great. He teach our herbal. His herbal he's just memorized. All those ancient textbook, the level like look analysis, they just straightforward from his head. So I was so shocked. Okay, and then so I like that style. Study means his soul knowledge, he know everything. He can like all those ancient Chinese medicine for people and also for what you medicine textbook. He can memorize. He can which page can immediately come out. So I said there's some very, very unique skill. And then last professor, he great too. He always like use special material. He wanted to demonstrate his point by special tools he make, like a 5 element, he make some special type of his drawing. Okay, is this because he's good, his artist, he can drawing. We like it because it didn't say too much. Immediately one image equal to 1,000 words, right? So I like that too. So after that, and then since my mentor tell me, follow whatever you like your professor most, I like all those my 5 professors. So what I do, so is integrate. So I integrate pretty much, try to follow all those 5 professors' essence. So become kind of, even though my even I speak Chinese not very clear. So I try to basically to make sure student learning something, also excited.
Yeah, cool. That's awesome.
老师, you know, you're talking about the, you know, like your professor, he was a very metal element, he will present right? So how would you describe yourself? What element would you be?
I think I'm earth.
You're earth.
Earth is basically flexible. I'm very flexible. And then student can push me to generate Jintang, for instance. I'm so flexible. Okay, I do. If you want, I can do it. And so usually Earth also don't force issues. I kind of cannot force issue. If you do it, great. If you don't do it, it's okay too. So that's the kind of, I think myself is more Earth constitution, has a tolerant, has flexible.
Gets along well with everybody. But that's kind of how you describe all of your different teachers, and then Earth as Earth, you just brought all of the elements together and united them.
I try.
I think it's beautiful that the way you describe you saying your earth element, because your school is basically a farmland. You know, you use the earth, the soil to teach, you know, to create Xie Institute, Xie University, you know, to be where it is today. It really is from the soil, you know.
Thank you. Yeah, it is from soil.
It grew up from this little tiny like sapling, and now you should see the building is beautiful, and it's solar powered and like green architecture and everything. So
so Dr. Xie, what would be, you know, we are in the year 2022 now. what is, you know, your wish or your vision for Xie University, you know, for the future?
Chinese medicine, including human TCM and the traditional Chinese veterinary medicine, we have two major areas is weak, very, very weak. Number one, define the Qi. What is the Qi? Can we measure? At this moment, no Qi meter, no measurement of the Qi. So one of my way, or I'm thinking, hopefully 10 years from now, we're able to make the Qi measurable. Like now, you and us, three of us talk, we may have some special energy field we're able to measure. How much Qi you have, how much Qi you have left, and where is the Qi stagnant, how bad it is. So that's now we do have our lab, we call the biomedicine lab. We have one master degree now started to measure the Qi. There's some very interesting data. Hopefully, we're able to generate a good like device able to measure in the dog, horse, may able to apply human as well. So that is we also try to build the PhD program, which is able to understanding not only measure the Qi, but actually why those Qi able to move from Gainesville or Reddick to Miami. So there's some mechanism. So understanding mechanism, how those Qi link the nerve system, hormonal system, or which cell get involved. That is basically two areas. Number one, measure. Number two, able to understand why, how this work. And then, so hopefully 10 years from now, we're able to get in those two type of area.
Wow. Wow. I love that. I love that. And, you know,
so hopefully one day people will say, okay, actually this makes sense from those Western medical training. Now, because we open our mind, we are thinking this makes sense. But we hopefully one day, 10 years from now, make those close-minded, they're also thinking that actually makes sense for them. They're like nerve, cells, you know, which pathway, single. That's what we want to discover.
Yeah, because to be honest, like a lot of Western minds, when you talk about qi, you know, energy, they don't believe it, or they like they say woo-woo stuff, you know, like
or they just shut down. They just like shut down, you know.
You know, but qi is actually all around us, isn't it?
It is, but again, now we try to actually try to fund funding. We talk about the research grant. This can be big challenge. Now, Dr. Zhang, or rather Zhang, Dr. Zhang now, he's director of the biomedical center at Xie University. Now, deadline to submit NIH grant is Tuesday. It's coming Tuesday. Which hopefully this grant able to get something, but maybe not. But still, that's our direction. So maybe we're able to even get a private donation to really support understanding. Number one is the Qi everybody talk about, but how to measure. That's relatively easy. We can use electric singular, we can use biosingular, measure it to record, and then understanding the why. So now this grant, we try to figure out the just measure. So measure the singular, this first phase. Second phase, understanding how and why those singular able to move around from one place to another. Could be nerve, could be not a nerve, could be hormonal, could be not hormonal, we don't know. That's what we want to figure out how it's work.
Interesting, wow. So you're back. It's like coming full circle back to looking at the grants and the
yes, yeah.
Take the next step. But that's a big step, because that's always been the issue. Like, what is qi and how can you make it?
That's the huge. again, sometimes you ask it how many people challenge you. That's always challenge. So now, how do you face to challenge? We just use research or scientifically demonstrate actually to answer that questions. It's a very, very challenging questions, but I think we have to do it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Wow.
Awesome.
Awesome.
I love this conversation today, Dr. Xie. It's like, you have no idea how excited I was when Dr. Josie said that you said yes. I was over the moon because I have long admired you from afar. Even though I'm just a pet parent. I'm in Singapore, but I always notice all the people that I admire, like Dr. Josie, came from the Xie University, and so I was always wondering, what is this Xie University? So I tried to Google for it and check it out. And then I realized, some vets in Singapore who practice acupuncture actually studied under Xie University. So I'm like, okay, So I've always been very curious to try and find out who is the founder of Xie University. And to be honest, I actually wrote an email to your university, I don't know how many years, several years ago, asking for an interview from you. But I never heard back from anyone, probably because my email went into the spam folder,
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. The universe, it was meant to be through Dr. Josie, but it just, I find it very moving and amazing that you came from China, you went to US, and now you're teaching everywhere.
Thank you. So Amrys, right? Amrys.
Yes.
May I ask you, I can say you speak some degree of the British accent, right?
Yes.
So you get educated in British school or?
I grew up in Singapore and I did study in England for a while.
Okay.
So I went to school there. Not that I was a very good student. I tried and dabbled, what is my passion? What was I enjoying? I enjoyed art. I like history. I like art, but I was never a good student. And I basically partied too much. I was a very naughty girl. Okay. I was the worst daughter you can ever have, because I was not a typical Chinese daughter where, tradition is you should listen to your parents. I was very rebellious, partly because my family had family problems. So I was just reacting to everything, I don't know what element would that be. Let me see.
That's wood.
Wood.
Yeah, wood.
The wood basically you want it. It's good. I love wood energy because wood is make change. Now it's your generation making the change.
Yeah.
So, but then when you change, sometimes actually, hopefully your life now back to the good now, right? When you are the rebellion
It's much
energy.
better now. It's much better now. Because I used to be so unhealthy. I used to smoke. I used to drink a lot, party a lot. I mean, I just did everything wrong, or I just did everything. Not everything, but a lot of things. Let me just clarify that, in case my parents are listening to this one day. But I realized, I was so unhealthy, and how I got better was actually through TCM. It was a Taiwanese friend of mine. One day in Singapore, she told me, hey, let me bring you to a TCM doctor. But because I grew up in a Western environment, my parents were not very Chinese. They were born in Malaysia.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm first generation born in Singapore. So, they grew up during the British colonial time. My parents are in their 80s, so so they they always wanted me to learn English because they felt I must speak proper English in order to get a good job. That was the thinking in those days in colonial
That's
England.
why you speak beautiful British, the Queen. We call the Queen English. Right, Josie?
The Queen's English.
Well, I don't know how Queen it is nowadays. It's quite bastardized, to be honest, with TV and Netflix, I'll be honest. but thank you. So, I had gut problem, microbiome problem. So I couldn't think. So suddenly I had brain fog, depression. I was overweight and everything, and water retention. So I went to the TCM doctor, and I didn't believe, I didn't know what it was. But my Taiwanese friend, she said, try. I was like, okay, I try. And the Chinese doctor, she took my pulse and she 打脉. She felt my pulse and took it, and she was, the Chinese, keep be quiet and just, feel my left, feel my right, and then look at me, my tongue and everything, and my eyes, right? And then after a while, she said, actually, she said this in Chinese. But in translated in English, it's, I can help you get better, but only if you want my help. And what she said, even though it was in Mandarin and my Mandarin wasn't very good, but I understood it, and it cut through this fog in my brain because I was very black. I had very bad depression at that time. And when she said those words, it suddenly, it hit me. Yeah. And I went, oh my goodness, a total stranger said something very calm and very simple to me. It's like, only if you want my help, I can help you. And I almost cried because no one has ever said that to me. And that's when I decided to trust her blindly. I took blind faith. I jumped and I said, okay. So she gave me all sorts of herbs in a pill, in a I don't know what to call it, those dan, I don't know, those dan, the Chinese pills, the round balls, and there were so many of it. I remember, lots and lots of it, and then she did guasa on me. She used the like a spoon, and she rubbed and acupuncture on me as well. And I remember my whole body was black in color. It was all blue black, like I looked like someone beat me up. So I had to wear long sleeves, or people would think I got into a fight. And she did the suction cup on me, the
cupping.
I love cupping.
So apparently I had a lot of dampness in my body, and she had to take it out. So I went to her for 1 whole year. I would see her every 1-2 weeks, because in Chinese medicine, you must adjust the medication, and you must change, and she must feel my pulse and see whether is it improving. 她要帮我调，对不对？要帮我调一下。So just to make sure that I'm responding well. So for 1 year, I went back every week. And
you're a good patient.
My body had this change, and the best part was, I tell you, this is where my Mandarin failed me, or I did not hear it from her, but I didn't realize I would have a major detox. So I went to the toilet many times. Like, I had massive, like a lot of shit came out, diarrhea, and I think that part, I kind of maybe she told me or didn't tell me, but I wasn't prepared for it. So I had to keep going to the toilet several times a day for
you purged
for many months. Yeah, it was very strong. And I was like very shocked that, my goodness, what was happening? But me being a very low IQ person, I just went, okay, just trust her, just keep going back. And, you know, slowly and slowly, one day, the fog, the darkness sort of lifted from my brain. And then I started to think a little bit better. And then I started to smile a little bit more. And then I started to write again, because I was in the creative arts. So I used to draw a lot and write a lot. But for many years, I had a block. It was all black. And it's thanks to her that she kickstarted and helped my body heal. And because of her, I realized, you know, I needed to take better care of myself. So I started to learn about, because she was telling me during that 1 year, you can eat this, don't eat that, eat this, don't eat that, you know, don't take cold water, drink warm water, you know, or
the food therapy.
Yes. And cannot eat too much cabbage. You know, the cabbage, you know, is 太凉啊, it's too cooling, because she said my body was too cooling. It was too cold, so I needed more stimulation. So you know, so I was like, oh my goodness, all this is working. And I was like, you know, like an experiment. I went, okay, I try. So that's how I started to have an interest in health. Because of her, you know, thanks to her, I started to open my mind to, TCM, it's not bullshit. Because my mother, when she was very young in Malaysia, they had a lot of bad Chinese doctors, you know, the not very good ones. They sell you the herbs, but then they don't make it properly, or there's something wrong with the quality, so you get sick. So she always felt her experience in Malaysia was that Chinese doctors are not good. They're all cheats, they're all snakes. That was
snake bio.
Yes, you know. So for me, learning this, and it's like, I think 2000, almost 20 over years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now you pass it on to all of your animals, because she rescues cats. She has a house.
Yeah.
How many cats? So that's
home,
what.
I have 12 cats and 1 dog now. I used to have a little bit more, but I take care of the community cats in my neighborhood. So I do TNR, trap, neuter, return, and we have volunteers to feed and take care of the cats. My core volunteer group, I slowly teach them, let's not feed dry food, no kibble. Let's feed wet canned food or raw or mix, you know. So I try to improve the diet even for our community cats. Yeah.
Great. So you are actually, now you still live in Singapore?
Yes. I went to England when I was about 16, 17, I think. Yeah, after my O-levels. In Singapore, we follow the British system. So it's called the GCE O-levels in my day. I don't know about now. So it's like high school to about 16, and then 16, and then 17, 18, you go to college or A-level college in the UK. And then after A-levels, you go to university over there. Yeah, so that's, yeah. So I was in England for about maybe 10 years plus. Yeah. And
so I apologize. I always thought actually you and Josie actually live in Miami. I thought that maybe you are her partner. So
I live in Singapore.
She's my podcast partner, but yeah, with Zoom, she can be on the other side of the world.
Yeah, she's my teacher. I look at Dr. Josie as my mentor, also 我的老师, you know, in terms of the spiritual side. But I live in Singapore, so yeah, it's about 3:48 a.m. in Singapore now.
Yeah, so yeah, that's why they're wondering now. You're very, very like midnight.
Yes. Yeah. Surprise, I know.
I'm sorry about that. That's you don't. That's not good. Not good for your tea.
Right? It's not good for TCM.
Well, I try and make up for it with other things. I do try to catch up on my sleep. That's why I try to eat a little bit better. I try to exercise. I do community work. I grow my own garden, urban garden. So I grow my own vegetables, you know. I do a bit of qigong, but I'm not very good at it, you know, but I do practice exercise. I walk my dog every day. I take care of my cats. So there's a lot of movement. Yeah, but I do this because I love to learn from people like you and, you know, and Dr. Josie. And I have found that if I have to be awake during midnight onwards in Singapore to be able to get stories and get to know people like you, to me, it's worth it. It's like gold, because this is knowledge that I learn. And the best part is because you agree to talk to me and we can record it, we can share it with the rest of the world, you know. And for me, this is it's not a sacrifice, you know, like you. What is your joy? What is your passion? What is your love? Your 3 loves. You have your basketball, you love your beach, and you love to teach. And for me, this is what I love. So, you know, yeah, it's a terrible hour for me in terms of my chi, but it's funny because I bring it. It makes me feel very alive, and I
can say that
very very meaningful. It's very meaningful. It's very inspiring when I talk to people like you, because it makes me think about my life and, like, you know, how can I improve my life when I look at yours. And I love how, you know, you describe your journey, you know, coming from China, how you started the school, and how flexible you are, and that you're an earth element. And I'm like, okay, I'm a wood, so, you know, I gotta try to be a bit more flexible, because sometimes, to be honest, I think I'm a bitch. Sorry if I swear.
That's your wood. That's your, you know, wood speaking.
Because I can be very bitchy. I can be very bitchy and judgmental. So sometimes I think I'm metal, you know, very inflexible. I don't know.
Try be yourself. Actually, that's more important.
There you
go. Yeah.
There you go.
So if that's you are, you know, keep that way, because that makes you happy.
Thank you. Yeah. So I am. It's funny we are talking about this, because right now I am trying to figure out where my path is taking me, you know, in life. It's been more spiritual than anything the last few years, especially with COVID. That's why I think the universe has a funny way of linking me up with Dr. Josie and now with you. And for you to share these stories, I find it's, you know, your students are very blessed, Dr. Xie, to have you as a teacher.
Actually, I'm blessed because student. You know, because if no student, I don't have, my love is lost. So actually, because student give me love, so I enjoy that.
Well, I hope one day I can come and visit you and visit you and Dr. Josie, because
we have wonderful place. We're wonderful beach. If like you go to beach.
Yeah. Well, I'm not good at basketball because the ball has hit me in the face before. but I will stand and support you when you play your basketball at the beach.
Great.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking this time with us. It was just special.
Thank you. Yeah, by the way, Amrys, I love that's some of your art.
Ah, okay. No, it's not my art. This is from another artist that I quite like, but yeah, it's
Isn't it fun?
yeah, for me it sort of describes how I want to look at life and education and knowledge, and learning. It shouldn't be all metal. It should be more flexible, like earth, and to learn by stories. Yeah, like you know.
When I look at it, there's a 5 element.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, there's green and yellow
okay.
and red and the white for metal.
Yeah.
Oh, I never thought of that.
There's white for metal, green for wood,
and
blue
brown,
for water.
Oh, wow.
And then the fire, and then the yellow.
Oh. Who would have thunk?
It's a total 5 element background.
Okay, I'm not going to change this then. This is it.
I know.
Great, okay.
On my group, we take like each season and explore one of the elements. So we just started into earth element, so she's been doing that with me, and we've been taking one herb and like a stone and just feeling the energies of it as we move through. So
great.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Great. Okay, so wonderful. So happy to see both of you. And then go back to sleep, Amrys. Now, hopefully you can get some sleep.
Thank you, Dr. Xie.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So anytime, please come to Florida. I may go to Singapore.
Oh, come to Singapore.
Yeah, I will email you.
Yes. Email me. Yes. You have family here? You have family here, yes?
Yeah, one of my sister in Singapore.
Okay, okay.
Oh.
Yes, please do. If you ever come this way, send me an email.
Okay, great.
Oh, that'd be fun.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Xie. 谢谢你。
Thank you. 好，晚安。好，睡个好觉。
Okay,
好，拜拜。
Bye.
Wow, I'm so thankful and grateful that you took the time to listen to this podcast. It would mean the world to me if you could subscribe, download, rate, review, and share this with others whom you care about that may enjoy it as well. Thank you, and remember to be kind to yourself and others. Have a awesome day, everyone.